Hello and welcome to the Economic Times Cutting Chai Stories, an initiative by ETH. I'm Ashwani Mishra, bringing to you conversations with business and IT leaders over a cup of chai as they share some interesting insights around their personal and professional journey over the years, their leadership traits, hobbies, and other such engaging topics. Joining me today is a very special guest. I welcome Lakshmi Mukkavilli, Managing Director at Patra India BPO Services. Welcome, Lakshmi, on Cutting Chai Stories. Aditya, let's have you in this conversation. There's a common question that I have for both of you. Uh, One, what were some of the key challenges for your business last year? How did you manage to overcome them? And moving ahead, what are your key priorities around innovation or uh, strategic IT or digital priorities for 2021?
Who do you want to go first?
Let's start with you, Lakshmi. In that case, I'm sure Aditya
Okay.
will.
Yeah. Yes. So actually, I mean, everyone knew the pandemic, sort of the oncoming pandemic, right? And especially since our head office, corporate office is in the US, and they were slightly affected ahead, and they knew. I mean, India was not already in the horizon for the pandemic. This was like, I think in the month of February, but we knew it was going to happen. So we started taking a little early action, and we knew that things might have to come to, like, work from home, and we might have this curfews and lockdowns, but they were not sure when it's going to happen. So pretty much by end of February, beginning of March, we started talking about this, and exploring how do we have, because for especially in India, for BPO or for ITS, the working from home scenario is not even there, because you're working in shifts, right? And we run 3 shifts, and everyone just comes home, they log off, and then they just cut off from their this thing, because it's highly confidential too, right? And we do back office insurance, so it is definitely conscious, not health, but it's commercial. So but still, what we started doing, we started buying first the computers, because we thought if people really have to work from homes, at least first we need that. So we started buying, and and started this thing, taking a sessions for the senior people, and what's going to happen, when this is going to hit India and stuff like that. So we started doing all this in March, and by the time it hit us by last week of March, after that one day of thing, Modi just told us that we are just going into lockdown. We were sort of prepared. We actually, the previous week itself, we started shipping the computers to everyone's home. And so I think we covered about 70 to 75%,
Right.
pretty much. So, and then it was not just the challenge was just not only the computers, the Wi-Fi, okay, or the net, because most of the people, everyone has mobiles, they were just doing with mobile data and all that. So we had to run with the service provider. I think mostly we went with Airtel, because we had Tata, but Tata doesn't do home service. And other this thing we picked up. And I mean, it was like crazy in the March month, even before the lockdown started, because there was so much we had to do. And this was all something, new to us. I mean, we never even expected. But I think, that, proactive step we had taken still hit us, but not so bad where, others got hit even worse. I
Was
think.
true.
I think, I mean, it's hats off to the whole management for us. I mean, like, so, April was bad, because it is mainly the computers were there, but it took us time to get internet for most of the people. So that, I mean, the senior people already had, because they used to work from home, but the rest of them, so pretty much we lost April. May, we were up and running by 50 to 60%. By June, we were 90%.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, and of course, I mean, about the digital priorities, we anyway knew, because, I mean, our corporate office being in the US, and, we were always, having this Zoom and all that. But of course, it became even more now because of the pandemic, and people were, it's all contactless now. I mean, no more meetings, together meetings coming onto the floor, all those things. So obviously, that was a high priority. But since we were already using, it was not so much as an issue for us. It was easier to just get into those things. I mean, Zoom was across for us in the office. So I mean, and so that's what was being used also. And if by any chance we had issues, there were always phone calls, and sometimes WhatsApp, on this thing, visual WhatsApp and stuff like that. So I think we did not really have that much of a challenge, for the when it came to the digital prioritization. But of course, I think all of us had challenges. I think month of April and May, pretty much.
Most of them, yes, yes, Lakshmi. I guess I know the same set of challenges. The scale would have been different, I'm sure, but the challenges were quite similar. Aditya.
Yeah. So, the challenges, and it brings back memories, right? Because we are again in March, April, May, June, right? So I think what hit us hardest at that time was the whole after sales support, because our customers, they were working from home. And after sales for us used to be call centers where people will go to the office, support our customers, and suddenly, it was lights off everywhere, and people had to support our customers from their home, right? So we had to put in place policies, we had to put in those guidelines to help our customers. So initially it was very challenging, like Lakshmi said, that initially we were caught off guard, and then suddenly you start doing well. And after a couple of months, we actually started opening up our support for other brands also, just in case people needed it, right? So whatever we could do, we started doing that. And like Lakshmi mentioned, a lot of people have done superlative stuff during this time, right? So we had team across all companies, right? I mean, if you look at the kind of innovations people have done and they're still doing, it makes your heart go so glad, right? We are all in so much trouble, but when you see such stuff happening, so some people came up with an idea of Lenovo on wheels, right? That customers are working from home, we'll take a service center there, right? So take a minivan, put all the stuff there, go near the homes apartments, get the laptop, desktop, whatever, fix it and give it back to the home, right? So it was quite a challenging time, but as I said, right, that it is during these times where you see what potential people can bring and what innovation people can do. I think
True.
that was the major challenge. Of course, supply chain, right? It became unpredictable, right? We are such a supply chain dominant company, and suddenly became unpredictable. We had to be smart about managing inventory. We have to be smart about calling the inventory, right? So those are some of the challenges. Continuing forward, I think this IT is becoming even more important. Like we said, that they could figure out that something was happening and being prepared, right? So that is this stuff for people right now, that we don't know when it will be a lights off situation and what situation will it be going down. And we are trying to do our best to one, adapt ourselves, as well as help our customers figure out from our experiences at what best they can do. So yeah, this pandemic has taught us a lot and still teaching us quite a lot now.